Four girls found dead in a burning yogurt shop. It's a case that marks a dark chapter in Austin's history.
This is the, I can't believe it's yogurt.
Open the door, police!
December 6th, 1991. Austin, Texas. The city was alive with holiday energy. Stores near the North Cross Mall bustled with shoppers. Families carried bags of gifts, and the sound of Christmas music drifted from storefront speakers. On a quiet corner of that strip stood a small frozen yogurt shop. Its bright red sign read, "I can't believe it's yogurt." Inside, 4 teenage girls were closing up for the night.
In a nice neighborhood where 4 young girls would die under such horrific circumstances, many spoke of a city that had lost its innocence.
17-year-old Eliza Thomas was behind the counter. She was known as a steady worker, responsible and reliable. Working with her was her friend, 17-year-old Jennifer Harbison. Jennifer was outgoing, popular, and looking forward to graduation in the spring. Jennifer's younger sister, Sarah, only 15, stopped by to ride home with her sister. Sarah was bright, athletic, and still just beginning to find her place in high school. Her best friend, 13-year-old Amy Ayers, tagged along. Amy was the youngest of the group, still in middle school, excited about a sleepover they had planned after the shift ended. The girls chatted, cleaned, and began counting down the register. At 11 o'clock, the doors were locked. The shop was dark except for the glow of backlights in the kitchen.
4 girls in there, and they're all beautiful girls, and they're very young. They're cleaning up, they lock up the yogurt shop, and then we believe it to be 2 individuals. Came in, they forced them to the back room at gunpoint.
Outside, the night looked ordinary. For the girls inside, it was their last.
Responders found the bodies of 17-year-old Jennifer Harbison, her 15-year-old sister Sarah Harbison, 17-year-old Eliza Thomas, and 13-year-old Amy Ayers.
Sometime after midnight, smoke began pouring from the building. Neighbors saw flames rising and called emergency services. Firefighters rushed to the scene and fought through the blaze. At first, it looked like a small business accident. But once they forced their way inside, the truth was far worse than fire damage. In the back storage room, they found all 4 girls.
4 teenage girls killed at the I Can't Believe It's Yogurt shop in North Austin on December 6, 1991.
Their bodies were stacked on top of one another, bound and gagged. They had been stripped and left burned beyond recognition. Each had been shot execution style in the back of the head. At least one of them had been raped.
Their names were Jennifer and Sarah Harbison, Eliza Thomas, and Amy Ayers, age 13, all found tied up, shot in the head, and set on fire inside a yogurt shop in Austin.
A firefighter with me tapped me on the shoulder and pointed down, and he asked me, "Is that a body?" And I had to step back, and it was. I saw another body. I knew that it wasn't right. Something was not right.
Austin was horrified. Parents clutched their children tighter. Local news stations ran urgent broadcasts. Detectives called it one of the most brutal crimes the city had ever seen. Police launched a massive investigation. More than 1,200 possible suspects were considered. Over 50 different people came forward to confess. Some were mentally unstable. Others admitted they lied for attention. Some were coerced after long interrogations. None of the confessions matched the evidence at the scene. In 1992, Mexican authorities arrested 2 men and claimed they were responsible. At first, it looked like a breakthrough. But within days, the men recanted their stories, saying they had been tortured into confessing. They were quickly ruled out. Families begged for justice.
Every year that goes by, I get farther and farther away from my sister. And I worry about losing memories.
Detectives combed through leads, but months turned into years. The crime scene had been badly compromised by fire, and the technology of the early 90s was limited. DNA testing was still in its infancy. Every time police tried to move forward, they hit another wall. By 1999, Austin detectives turned their attention to 4 local young men. They were questioned for hours. Under pressure, 2 of them, Robert Springsteen and Michael Scott, eventually confessed. Their statements were inconsistent, but prosecutors pressed forward anyway.
Springsteen told them he shot one girl and raped her.
In 2001, Springsteen was tried for capital murder. Jurors listened to his confession, and he was sentenced to death. In 2002, Michael Scott went on trial. He was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. For a moment, it seemed the city finally had answers. Families of the victims believed the nightmare might be over. But the cracks appeared quickly. The confessions contradicted each other. They included details that didn't line up with the evidence. Neither man could place themselves accurately in the shop on that night. There was no DNA, no fingerprints, no ballistic match tying them to the crime.
So tired of this. He'd already been questioned. He'd already been through that mill. And he thought, you know what? I'll tell you any damn thing you want.
By 2009, after years of appeals, the Texas Court of Appeals overturned both convictions.
I was berated and berated and berated by the police officers until they obtained what it was they wanted to hear. They were not going to allow me to leave. And I basically, they broke me down.
The men were freed. The families were crushed. Nearly 2 decades after the murders, the case was back at the beginning. The yogurt shop murders had become infamous nationwide. In Austin, they defined an era. Candlelight vigils were held every December. Families spoke to reporters about their daughters, pleading for answers. Detectives retired, new ones stepped in, but the crime remained unsolved. Meanwhile, a man named Robert Eugene Brashers had been moving across the South, leaving destruction behind him. Brashers was a drifter, a violent predator with a long record.
Suspect identified by Austin police in the yogurt shop murders. Robert Brashers, a man police call a serial killer with an extensive criminal history.
In 1985, he attacked a woman in Florida, stabbing and beating her nearly to death. She survived, and he was convicted of attempted murder.
In a new statement, Austin police name suspected serial killer Robert Eugene Brashers as their man.
In 1988, he was arrested in Arkansas for trying to break into the home of a woman who lived alone.
He had a conviction for attempted murder in Florida in 1985. And when Brashers killed himself in 1999, again, it was 1999, I misspoke earlier, he had active warrants in Arkansas for a previous arrest while trying to break into a woman's home.
He often impersonated a police officer, flashing a badge or claiming authority to gain trust before turning violent. Victims and investigators described him as cold, calculating, and remorseless. He served time, but always resurfaced. He was a man who slipped through the cracks again and again. In January of 1999, Brashers was cornered in Kennett, Missouri, during a 4-hour standoff with police. Rather than surrender, he raised his gun and shot himself. His story ended that night, or so it seemed. For decades, no one connected Brashers to Austin.
Bodies of Sherry and Megan Scherer were found in a rural southeast Missouri home. Brashers was tied to the killings after his body was exhumed in 2018 for further DNA testing.
The yogurt shop murders remained cold. Families endured more than 30 years of silence, false starts, and endless grief. In September of 2025, that changed. Austin police held a press conference. After 34 years, they announced a stunning breakthrough. A bullet casing, long overlooked, had been recovered from a drain inside the yogurt shop. Advanced ballistic testing matched it to the very gun Brashers used to kill himself in Missouri. DNA analysis confirmed the link. The man responsible for Austin's most haunting crime had finally been identified. For the families, it was bittersweet. They had a name. They had the truth. But Robert Brashers was long dead. He would never face trial. He would never sit before a jury. He would never hear a guilty verdict read aloud.
And while police appear ready to close the case, there may never be justice for the 4 teenage girls. Brashers took his own life during a police standoff.
For Eliza Thomas, for Jennifer Harbison, for Sarah Harbison, for Amy Ayers, justice would never come. For decades, their case defined Austin's darkest crime, Now, the truth is known, but closure remains out of reach.